Hey, I like to let that little instrumental play out. It's got a nice little bop to it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the place where we safely and sometimes not so safely set oppression ablaze. I'm so happy to see your smiling face up in the place. Listen, everybody, what's up to everyone that's already checking in the chat? And we know how y'all do, not y'all that's already here, but y'all who be coming in late. You know who y'all are. But anyway, guys, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. To tell your friend, tell a friend to tell a friend, bitch. We're on Facebook, Twitter. We are on a variety of places. And of course, here on the good view of the tubes. Now, as you see, today's show title is Fascism Flourishes under Joe Biden. And we understand that it was a great sense of urgency to get Donald Trump out of office, especially from establishment Democrats who told you that if we did not elect Joe Biden as president, Donald Trump would push the country further into fascism. Now, Trump's gone, but yet somehow the fascism still remains. And there was a few things, few incidents really illuminated how much that the state is here to crack down on marginalized and vulnerable communities. And for those who oppose the state's agenda in that direction, then the last two nights in Los Angeles, Echo Park Lake has been the scene of, I'm not going to say violent clashes because that sounds like some mainstream shit, has been the scene where the police showed up like some fucking gorillas to forcibly remove unhoused people who have been living in that park for quite some time. Where the problem came was that members of the community showed up to meet the cops out there. And of course, we know how LAPD gets down. They don't have any sort of respect for the Constitution or civil rights, or even respect for the press, for the rights of journalists to practice the First Amendment. We saw journalists attacked along with demonstrators and, of course, unhoused people out there. So coming up on today's show, in just a few moments, I'm going to bring in Ricci Sergienko. Y'all know who Ricci Sergienko is. He is of the People's City Council. We all should have a People's City Council in our respective towns and cities. His represents Los Angeles. Ricci was out there. He shot some incredible footage of police brutality and, of course, resistance against police violence. We're going to get to Ricci in just a second. Coming up later on the show, I'm very excited. Guys, we're going to be joined with Max Alvarez, the host of the Working People podcast. Max, also the editor-in-chief of the Real News Network. You guys know Max. So Max is fresh from Bessemer, Alabama. Of course, the Amazon union story has been, I hope it's been big. It's been big in my social media spaces. I hope it's been big in yours too, because this would be a big fucking deal if these workers in Bessemer, Alabama are able to form a union in this period of time where Amazon and Jeff Bezos have raked in trillions of dollars since the onset of the pandemic. These workers are fighting for their rights, the right to be paid, the right to work in a safe environment, along with other things. So we're going to check in with Max and see how that fight has been going. Y'all know they're having a big rally down there in Bessemer today with brother Bernie Sanders is in the building. Y'all boy, Killer Mike is in the building. And Nina Turner was down there recently, as was Corey Bush. You're going to check in with Max Alvarez at about 5:30 to get the latest on what's happening with the Amazon unionization efforts there. But like I mentioned, fascism was doing its thug thizzle last night in Los Angeles in the form of the LAPD. So what we're about to watch here, guys, is a compilation of video tape from last night's event, starting off with Ricci Sergienko's piece he shot for the People's City Council. You're going to see the police run up on Ricci. You see, Ricci ain't no punk. Ricci flexed his whiteness like, hit me, bitch. And they didn't. So that's what I'm talking about. So also we have videos coming up from the LA Can Network, which is very compelling videos, guys. Also shot on 35 millimeter. Anyway, we're gonna recap these videos, but I need you to look and pay attention because you are going to see cops amassed in ridiculous numbers. You are also going to see a police officer train his weapon on a journalist for at least a minute. And the journalist is asking him, like, can you not put the gun directly in my face if it's not too much trouble? So Brother Tunde, if we could see that montage, please, of the events over the past 2 nights at Echo Park.
Yeah, because how many people LAPD shoot last week?
Last week?
Yeah.
I don't know.
6 and 7 days. Is that what you guys do? You just exist to shoot people and have guns?
Is that what you think happened?
You just fucking admit it. You're like, why? You're like, why do you have? Why the fuck are you getting close to me with that thing, bro? Back up. Back up. Back up. Back the fuck up, bro. What's wrong with
Get back! Everybody that's here, walk that way. Get back.
There's no way. They're telling us to go this way. They're telling us to go this way. Excuse me. Why are you pointing this at me? I'm with the media.
Great when they put the fuel dumps on these helicopters. I would have dumped it on Glendale Boulevard a long time ago. I'll bring the match.
Yeah, that last part of audio that you heard, that was LAPD radio transmission traffic where they joked about burning protesters in plain listening view of everybody else. Fucking crazy. Guys, welcome Ricci Sergienko from the People's City Council LA to the program. Ricci, we are so glad to see you, first of all, not in jail, healthy, and still ready to go out there and bang again. So I want you to bring us up to speed on what the situation has been there in Echo Park. But tell us about what the community was like prior to the Wednesday sweep when LAPD tried to remove the houseless residents of that community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there have been residents of Echo Park Lake for years now. They've built a community who, and they figured out how to take care of themselves because the city the state and federal government have all let them down, right? And it's actually like an inspiration of what community could look like. They had a kitchen, they had a garden, they had a shower, they had like common areas, like it. And if you ever went to Echo Park Lake, you would never feel unsafe. Like it's a public park, right? And the public is using it. And the public is using it as it needs. City, there's a housing crisis in Los Angeles. So there was a community there that was a threat to white supremacy, basically, and the elected officials and capital that uphold it. And so Wednesday night, they staged hundreds of cops, a little bit away from Echo Park Lake. They brought in the fencing. They brought in hundreds of officers, and they were prepared to raid the Echo Park Lake Park in the middle of the night. They were prepared to come in the middle of the night and violently remove people and destroy their belongings. The only reason that they didn't is because hundreds of community members showed up in solidarity with the residents of Echo Park Lake, and it didn't go down like that. And it got crazy Wednesday night, and fortunately the police backed off. But they broke someone's arm that night, and I was on the front lines, fucking live streaming on Instagram, and these fools were, they were ready to do it. If they got the order, they were ready to do it. And last night, they were pissed off that they didn't get to make mass arrests and brutalize us on Wednesday night, and there was a vigil planned by the unhoused community, a peaceful, nonviolent vigil. And when I arrived, LAPD had shut down like 6 blocks and had hundreds of officers there, all like surrounding the vigil. And LAPD's excuse is that they were there to protect the park or, make sure whatever is going on with the park, but they were blocks up from the park, and they had strategically surrounded the vigil in ways that they could kettle us. And so, we can talk about what happened throughout the night. But that's basically like the rundown.
Oh, I mean, and that's extremely important that that you mentioned that you were kettled by police, because police did a lot of illegal shit last night and the night before that they are not totally supposed to be doing. And I want us to get into that. But Ricci, first I wanted to ask about what even prompted the removal or the order to remove all of these houseless residents from this park. I know that People's City Council, along with some other organizations and groups in Los Angeles, were tweeting very angrily at Mark O'Fallon. Do I have that correct?
Mitch O'Farrell. Mitch
O'Farrell. Look at me. I was deliberately trying to fuck up his name. Like, fuck that guy. But I mean, tell us, why is it fuck that guy? What did that guy do?
Well, Mitch O'Farrell hates poor people.
Well, tell us who he is. Make sure he's not just some random dude like this person. He holds an office, right?
Yes, City Council member Mitch O'Farrell he for years now has shown that he doesn't care about tenants or unhoused people in his district. He prioritizes real estate. He supports the police. And so generally a soulless ghoul. And he has been plotting with NIMBYs, or people who don't like unhoused people and don't want solutions other than sweeping them away from their comfort zone. Mitch worked with them to order the removal. And the way that Mitch did it was saying that the park needed renovations. And when we, on Wednesday night, what happened is that they kettled us on one side of the park. And then while they were doing that, on the other side, they started to resurrect the fence. And so it was simply just to remove the people that lived there. Mitch O'Farrell doesn't actually care about renovations. He found an excuse to carry out his hate of poor people.
And in addition to Mitch O'Farrell, you also obviously had continued ire for Mayor Garcetti, who was seemingly determined just to tweet through this entire incident while this was transpiring on the streets of his city. But another part of this, Ricci, that seemed to be very disturbing had to do with the way that the journalists were treated. Press showed up, obviously, to cover a big action in Los Angeles. And not only were they detained by LAPD, in some cases, they were actually arrested. I wanted to take a look, if we could. Hold on, let me pull up this correct number segment to look at least one journalist who was at minimum detained. And I think the reason why this particular journalist was only detained, and I might be making some racial generalizations here, but she appears to be a blonde white lady. So I know they didn't want to, rough her up too bad. Let's go to B2, Tunde. This is an example of at least one press person being detained by LAPD. Mind you, Los Angeles Police Department sent out a memo last year about how they are to engage with journalists and members of the media during such actions. But I wanted to take a look at this real quick. Tunde, if we could take a look at B2, please.
Wait, I'm with Spectrum News 1. They have my name. Wait, I have to stay with my crew. They have their... Okay, you'll be fine. Well, I have to stay with my crew. They need to come with me. I promised I would stay with my crew.
So that was Spectrum News 1's Kate Cagle. As you see, she was being taken into custody there by police. She was, according to her, she was only detained and then she was let go. But why was she detained in the first place? Tunde, can we take a look at B1, the tweet from the group Knock LA? They released a statement on Twitter talking about how two of their reporters were arrested at Echo Park Rise Up, hashtag Echo Park Rise Up. A member of the Los Angeles Times staff was also detained, and we saw his colleagues tweeting, wondering where his whereabouts were, because clearly he was in custody. And hold on, let me go to one more here. Tunde, do I have that other piece where the journalist was talking about how let's go to B3, actually. B3, please. So the journalist whose handle is shot on 35 millimeter, named Lexus Oliver Ray, tweeted this out. It said, earlier today, LAPD circulated a memo to all personnel. This was from last year, as I said. The memo says, Lord, reporters do not need credentials to cover protests. They only need to self-identify. Also, if an unlawful assembly is declared, a designated area is supposed to be activated for the media. But that did not happen. Richie, did you happen to see any journalists either get arrested or detained last night?
Well, I also want to make a very important point about Lexus. Lexus is an amazing journalist. He's the homie, and he's out in the streets all the time. And he's currently facing a case from the city attorney about when LAPD, LAPD like beat him up one time at a protest. Like it pushed him down and broke his camera and hurt his wrist for a failure to disperse, similar to last night. And the city attorney is like bringing a suit against Lexus, and it's intentionally to chill his First Amendment right as a journalist. Mind you, he's a black man. There are no other white reporters there are no white reporters, that would face this charge. And the city attorney and LAPD are attempting to bring charges against Lexus for reporting on them. And so, it's important to know that context, and important to know the context that the white journalists were able to go before Lexus, or that LAPD was targeting journalists, and this is what they do. They don't care about the First Amendment. They don't care about our rights. They'll violate people's rights. A bunch of journalists were detained last night. LAPD simply doesn't care.
Well, Richie, and see, that kind of leads me, to our next point here, because there's no way to reform this. The journalist that talked about how LAPD received a memo in 2020 about how to engage with journalists during actions, even if an all unlawful assembly is declared. The police were trained for this. There was money spent to train police how not to fuck with the media during demonstrations. And here they are fucking with the media. So clearly the police are not accountable to themselves. They are not accountable to elected officials, and they damn sure not accountable to the public and to the citizens of Los Angeles. I mean, who tells the police what the fuck to do? Like, they can just arbitrarily disregard shit. I mean, who is accountable in Los Angeles when it comes to police misconduct? Nobody? Anybody?
Nobody. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but last week, LAPD shot 6 people in 7 days. And so for Mitch O'Farrell to order hundreds of LAPD officers 1 week after they shot 6 people in 7 days, put all of us in fucking danger, and he knew what he was doing. And Mitch O'Farrell does not deserve 1 second of peace in his fucking life. People should be outside of his house. If he's seen in public, they should press him. Mitch O'Farrell is fucking awful for that. And I will not forget that part of it, that the city of LA carried this out, knowing what LAPD does. And that's the culture that LAPD has. Chief Moore, the head of LAPD, has shot and killed 2 people himself. So that's what they do. They are fucking pigs. They're not accountable to anyone. These fucking cowardly ass politicians give them $3 billion a year to fucking harass, unhouse, and black and brown people.
Speaking of Mitch O'Farrell not getting any peace, if you know we're talking to Ricci Sergienko, and if you know Richie's calling out these politicians by name, you know Richie showed up to his house. Tunde, can we get a look at B4, please?
Shame on Mitch! 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 Shame on Mitch!
Wake up, Mitch O'Farrell! You've been sleeping in a fucking comfortable bed tonight!
Wake up, Mitch!
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Fuck you, Mitch!
House keys are handcuffed!
House keys not handcuffs! House keys not handcuffs!
Yes, Richie, collect the fuck out of these whack ass politicians. If you got to show up at their house and scream at them, but sometimes that's the only language they understand. Richie, what time did you show up at Mitch O'Farrell's house last night? And what time did they send the helicopter, the LAPD chopper, the ghetto bird out there to make sure to keep an eye on whatever y'all was doing at Mitch O'Farrell's house?
Well, I want to tell everyone what happened before Mitch O'Farrell's house. I was at the vigil. And we were, facing off with the cops because they surrounded us and confronted us. And LAPD escalated on nonviolent protesters. They're using flashlights as an excuse. But the night before, I was with a woman journalist, and a cop got mad at her for her camera light being in his face, and then flashed her with his light. So cops do it all the time, but they declared it an unlawful assembly. And then I moved to the back to send some tweets off last night. And so we were backing up. And we were trying to connect with the other group that were a little bit further down. And all of a sudden, as LAPD called the dispersal order, meaning we have to leave, right? We are literally backing up, leaving away from them. LAPD, another group, comes storming down the alley that was adjacent to us. And I literally took 1 step away because my partner yelled to me, and they tackled people right next to me. And then they pinned hundreds of people in between both lines of the cops, and they made mass arrests, which was their plan all along. And then I honestly don't really know what happened between me not getting kettled and me going to Mitch's. Like, I was just trying to fucking avoid the cops and get to my partner and get to the car. But then the decision was made to go to Mitch's, and it was probably around 11:30 or so. And
that was that. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Alrighty, thank you, Jude. Okay, well, so Ricci, so tell us, what is the status of the unhoused residents at Echo Park Lake? Has everyone been removed? Is the park now closed for renovations, as city officials have said? And do you know where the unhoused residents were removed to, and whether or not they were even given housing by the city?
Yeah, so the last two residents were removed this morning. I know I'm not entirely sure of all of the cases. There are great groups like Ground Game LA, Street Watch LA, the Services Not Sweeps Coalition that works very closely to ensure, the safety, or as much safety as possible for the folks that they work with. But I know a bunch of them were placed into Project Room Key, which is, the state rents out hotel rooms for people that need housing. But apparently there's a bunch of, limitations with it. Like, there's a curfew, and, people may be separated from their partner, or there's a bunch of different things. But yes, all of the members have been removed from the lake, and the fence is up.
How are you going to give grown people a curfew? City of Los Angeles, collect yourself. Ricci, another question I wanted to ask is the prevalence or the regularity of these types of sweeps of unhoused encampments, of people that have either been living on the streets or living in their cars over the past year since the pandemic. And just from following the People's City Council on social media, it seems that you guys have noticed, and even data bears this out, not only an uptick in unhoused people living on the streets of Los Angeles, but the police becoming more punitive in targeting these communities, which was fucking insane when we were in fucking pandemic. Like, why are y'all out here fucking with these people? Anyway, but talk to us about how LAPD routinely targets unhoused people, and how you have seen this either ramp up or otherwise over the past year since the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, the CDC specifically recommends not pursuing sweeps and displacement of unhoused people, and the city of Los Angeles has acted against that. They've also lied and tried to say that they're not sweeping people, but they actively destroy people's belongings and residences all the time. And, to be clear, it's not LAPD just showing up and doing it, right? It's an order from that council member to perform a sweep in that area. And it's pretty awful. And they Los Angeles hates poor people. It's as simple as that. And things will change, whether it happens through the democratic process, or if we just eventually fucking burn everything down, and we'll just have to start anew, and we'll start a beautiful community that is a just and safe and equitable society without fucking pigs.
I loved when you say burn it down, Ricci. That's like my favorite 3 words put together, way more than I love you or I got weed, which is like my second favorite phrase put together. I got tree. Wonderful. That sounds like excellent news. So, I mean, Ricci, talk to us about, what's happening in terms of future actions around supporting the unhoused. I'm not sure if you guys have anything planned immediately for the weekend, but I know that there's always stuff happening in and around Los Angeles. The activist community there does not seemingly take nights and or days off when it comes to advocating for the marginalized. So what do you guys have up your sleeve or have on deck?
I'm honestly not sure at the moment. Like, the last 2 nights were hellish dramatic for like everyone. The cops just fucking show up in force with fucking shoot people, beat them, like, and it's intentional, right? They don't want us out there protesting. And that's why they did what they did. That's why they made mass arrests. That's why they fuck us up. And it's come to a direct order from Mitch O'Farrell. Also, we have these things called neighborhood councils in Los Angeles. They're elected officials. It's like one step below city council. The Echo Park Neighborhood Council, the president, Zarina Williams, invited Mitch O'Farrell to come to the Echo Park Neighborhood Council meeting on Wednesday, or excuse me, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, before the sweep to discuss what was happening. Zarina is the president of the Echo Park Neighborhood Council. She's an elected official. It's not a random person asking Mitch to attend. Mitch did not attend. And then Zarina was actually arrested last night, along with the protesters, along with the legal observers. I had someone tell me that they saw my name on a list. LAPD is fucking targeting us. And, you know, under the direction of these elected officials. So I'm not sure what's coming up next, but fuck LAPD, fuck Mitch O'Farrell. You know, I'm sure something will happen. But it's, you know, the story is a displacement of the community and a militarized occupying force coming to remove them.
Well, it sounds like it's definitely time to replace the Los Angeles City Council with the People's City Council. I mean, these fuckers got to go at the end of the day, Richie, do they not? Because as you mentioned, you know, lawmakers or, you know, city officials like Mitch O'Farrell, even the mayor there, Mr. Garcetti, I mean, they are harmful to the community. They are harmful.
Liberal white supremacy.
Liberal white supremacy. Exactly. No, but you're 100% correct. You know, I'm not going to say what's the plan. I mean, because that's so general and vague. But I mean, the movement in the streets will and does transcend to City Hall eventually at some point. Is there talk amongst the activist spaces about finding candidates or backing people?
We got him. We know. We have a candidate. We know. So we have a candidate for CD13, Albert Corrado. Fucking Albert Corrado is running against Mitch O'Farrell. Albert Corrado supports defunding the police, housing for all, Green New Deal. Albert Corrado's sister, Melly Corrado, was shot and killed by LAPD. Albert is my homie. He does not give up. He does not back down to the cops. You know, he would be a great person to support and represent that district, especially given what fucking Mitch O'Farrell has done over the past few years to that district. Albert would be a nice fresh start.
Well, shoot, maybe we'll have to reach out to Albert and hear his agenda in his platform and how he would be different than Mitch O'Farrell, which I saw the hashtag resign Mitch going pretty strong there in LA Twitter. So, you know, Richie, as always, we appreciate the work that you do, the sacrifice that you do, the way you put your whiteness out there, you know, in defense of people who do not have as much protection in this society that you do, and people who put their privilege out there on the line. That takes courage, okay? Because a lot of white people out here scared. But the fact that you're not scared, Richie, that endears you to me and to my audience even more. So we appreciate what you do. Ricci Sergienko from the People's City Council. Richie, please keep up the good work. And you know you're welcome here anytime to talk to us about any fucking thing, and you can call them cops, pigs, all you want over here.
Well, one, LA Times actually printed me saying, Mitch O'Farrell, if you continue with this action, it will be an escalation that you are not prepared for. So I love when the press allows us to say things like that. But I'll end it with this: it's white people's duty to end or work to end white supremacy. So we need to use our whiteness in a way to carry that out. White people created this system, and white people need to dismantle it as well.
Well said, Richie. Perfect parting shot. Ricci Sergienko, everybody from the People's City Council, please follow them on Twitter so you can get a very close and personal look at the kind of work that they do, the kind of actions that they support. And Richie is an amazing videographer, street journalist in his own right. So Ricci Sergienko, thank you again, hon, as always. Love you.
I appreciate him. I appreciate you so much. I love talking to you. I love texting you. Appreciate you for always covering this, and fuck the pigs, and tell your mom I said hello.
I will, Richard. Tell your mama I said hello. Tell everybody's mama we said hello. We love mamas around this way. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, babe. Have a good one. All right, guys. I see y'all getting rowdy. Hey, HFK Rex, thank you very much for that Danish dollar donation, honey. We so appreciate it. That is very kind. John Viev, let me know if I missed any other super chats. I don't think I did, but if I did, tell me, because I'm not trying to leave anybody out. But I see my usuals in here. What's up? What's up, Luke Kang? What's up, Anna Hart? What's up, Black Magic? What's up, Courtney the SLP? What's up, Tony H? I see y'all here. Oh, I see Guy Shaw. I see Guy Shaw done found his black ass in the building. What's up, Guy Shaw? I don't even know if you black, but you're gonna be black today. No worries, guys. Listen, and I know sometimes that the halfway point of the program is when we tend to have people who may or may not be our regulars. So do me a favor, if you are watching this show and you are not currently subscribed to Burn It Down with Kim Brown, please go ahead and smush that subscribe button for me if you could. If you're watching us on Periscope, follow us on Twitter at Burn It Down KB. Thank you all. We crossed the 1,000 follower threshold. Last time I checked, we were at 1,008. Set it straight, because ain't no half stepping in the year 2021. So thank you all for your continued support, and to, of course, our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Molly said we have set a new goal of 60 patrons, I think, by the end of the month. When is the end of the month? What's today? 26. Oh, okay. We got a few days. So again, no donation is too small. You can support this program for as little as $2 a month. Trust me, $2. Well, it does not go very far. It goes far in our hearts. That is $2 a month worth of love that we so appreciate. You know why? Because you could have kept your love for free, but yet you gave it to us for $2 a month. So we are incredibly appreciative and thankful for all the support that we get. Ain't no half-stepping Courtney at SLP. You know what it is. I got to get that Big Daddy Kane on the wall at some point, at some time. But guys, I want us to move along to the other part of our conversation today. And as everybody, I hope, has been paying at least some attention. I know there's so much shit going on. It's so hard to focus and understand the intricacies and details of every story out there. But this one is extremely important, especially if you're a working person, especially if your industry possibly is some shit and you need some union representation. Y'all know those Amazon workers have been down there in Bessemer, Alabama, trying to organize, trying to get the union on and popping to represent Amazon workers. So there's been a lot of activity around that. As I mentioned today, Senator Bernie Sanders is down there rallying the workers. Nina Turner has been down there. Cori Bush has. Also, we're going to take a look at some of that video in just a bit. But first, I wanted us to take a peek at an interview with an Amazon worker by the name of Daryl Richardson. He's one of the Amazon workers in Bessemer. He sat down with the Working People podcast host and editor-in-chief of The Real News, Max Alvarez, to talk about some of the reasons, first of all, some of the conditions in Bessemer have been facing, and the reasons why he feels it is incredibly important to get this union support and to understand that the formation of the union for Amazon workers would really be a game changer for workers across this nation. Tunde, if we could please take a look at C1, please.
Everybody deserves to get treated fairly. Mm-hmm. And you hate to go in a facility in your workplace not knowing if you're gonna have a job or if you're gonna get doctored for no reason or you're gonna get fired for not being 6 feet apart. It's not right. Yeah. You know, it's not fair. Mm-hmm. You know, don't nobody deserve to get fired just cause. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody out there do everything they can, do the best they can, and they work out there. Mm-hmm. You know.
I've seen how big that place is. You guys are hustling across like multiple football fields stacked on top of each other.
Right. And you only get 2 breaks out of 10 hours. And the breaks are spaced out. You know, from the time you get in there, it takes so long for you to get a break, your first break. That's tiring. If the union was so bad, why the company doing everything they can to keep it out of here? Why are you paying the anti-union people to come here and to convince you to vote no when they could give us that money? You know, it don't make sense. You run around here and you got to scare employees to get what you want, but this is our lives. We want better wages. We want more money. We want job security. Employees need to be able to do the things they want to do sometime too, instead of just going home paying bills or just barely getting by. Or when you get home, you can't do nothing else but lay down. You know, they could do better. They could pay better. We working for the richest man in the country, and he can't pay employees what they deserve to be paid.
Just such a poignant description of his own experience working for Amazon. Guys, welcome back to the show. Maximilian. They call him Maximilian because his smile is worth a million. Max Alvarez, guys, back on the program. He's the host of the Working People podcast, also editor-in-chief at The Real News. Max, I am so happy to see you and so thankful that you made some time to join us today to talk about your reporting. Thank you for being here.
Right back at you, Kim. It's great to see you. Great to see everyone. Honored, as always, to be back on the show. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Max. And let me say a special hello to you from my mother, who swears you look just like my cousin Kevin. And I keep trying to tell her, Mama, Max is Latinx. He is not Negro. She's like, I don't know. He covered like us, though. I said, well,
I've been getting that since I was a kid, because it's the mixed race thing. Because I've had Turkish people think I was Turkish. I've had Persian people think I was Persian. I've had black folks think I was black. So I guess I'm just like a racial chameleon.
Hey, be happy. Everybody wants to claim you. That is a good thing, as opposed to putting you out of their race. So people want to welcome you. I take that as a good sign. But Max, you were recently returned from Bessemer, and you know I was watching some of the interviews that you did, not only with workers, but you spoke with Daryl right there, who I think articulated so brilliantly what many of us feel, you know, working or not working, as it may be, but. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, we are not just here to work and pay bills and just be tired, drained from our jobs just to go and lay down. Talk to us about what the experience of Amazon workers is in Bessemer right now and the conditions that they're working under.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the thing that really struck me too with just everyone that I talked to there, right? Is the fact that they're focusing so much on that. It really sticks with you, right? You know, I lay awake at night thinking about the things that Daryl told me, the things that Jennifer Bates told me, and other workers and organizers there told me, right? They really focus on the human aspect of this, right? And I think that that's really important, and it's not only really smart from an organizing standpoint, but it's really important, I think, for all of us, because we live in a country that so regularly dehumanizes us, right? Or so regularly convinces us that the things that make us human are not priorities, right? The priority is the system. The priority is profit, right? The priority is set by the powers that be at the expense of our humanity, right? And that's what you hear in Daryl's voice. He says, you know, there's more to human life than exhausting yourself for 10 hours a day at work and coming home so bone weary tired that you can't do anything else but lie on the couch and recuperate until you have to go back in, right? And you know, and you're only making enough just to basically tread water, pay bills, pay rent. You know, this is another thing that the organizers have been talking about. They've been saying there's more to life than this, right? We want to go on vacation. We want to take our kids to see the beach for the first time. And we can't do that with these wages, right? We can't do that with the high turnover. We can't do that with all the conditions that we're facing at Amazon. So I think the fact that was the thing that I was thinking about the most on the long 14-hour drive back up to Baltimore from Bessemer was just how everyone I talked to, right? We would talk about the kind of concrete working conditions that I'll get to in a second, but the thing that they all hit on, right, was this message that there's more to life than this. There's more to being human than this. And Amazon is out there trying to convince us that that is not the case. Whether we're workers, whether we're consumers, whether we're passive observers. The really sinister part about this is they are constantly trying to remind us that this is all human life can be, and this is all we should expect from this world. And I think it's a very powerful message that the workers there in Bessemer and the union organizers with the RWDSU are sending. And they're really trying to kind of light that fire in working people around the country and around the world. But to I guess, kind of circle back to your question about the day-to-day conditions that are exhausting people so much, Kim, is, I think I would stress to people watching is that you kind of already know them, right? Because you've been hearing about them for years. They never went away, right? Because Amazon, one of the really sinister things right now is that Amazon is trying to hold up the fact that it pays its warehouse workers $15 an hour as some example of how they are a quote unquote progressive company, right? That they pay above, what the minimum wage is. Don't forget, Amazon only raised its minimum wage to warehouse workers to $15 an hour a couple of years ago because it got years of bad press about the horrifying conditions in its warehouses, because of stories breaking about workers pissing in plastic bottles because they were too afraid to go on break or to go find a bathroom. Because one of the things that Amazon does, which is very dystopian, is it tracks workers every second that they are on the clock, right? They have this system called time off task, which means that if whatever your job is, if you're a stower, if you're a picker, you have kind of a certain quota of orders to fill, of boxes to open, of things to pack from one side to the other, throughout your entire shift. They're tracking your progress every step of the way. And every second that you are not kind of doing that work, that you're not scanning something, if you get up and go to try to find a bathroom, that is all time off task. And if you end up with more than 2 hours of time off task, I think in a week, you're fired, right? And you compound that with the things that Daryl was talking about. Sometimes when you're working in this massive facility, you can't find a bathroom. Maybe the bathrooms, especially during COVID, maybe there are 2 people in there and you can't go in there. So that's more time that you are taking up off task that you could end up being fired for. You have to walk up and down these stairs. You have to walk a football field's length just to get to the break room and try to scarf something down and run back before your time off task starts again. It's just grueling. And human beings were not made to endure this, which is why Amazon's whole model is to chew up workers and spit them out, and they have really high turnover, right? That's part of their business model.
Tunde, if you could, please pop up in this order when you get a chance. Let's go to D2, D4, and then D3, because some newsworthy events, Max, that are speaking directly to what you're talking about, why Amazon is on Twitter popping off, I am not quite sure, but let's set this up. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Representative Mark Pocan says paying workers where'd it go? Okay, there we go. Paying workers $15 an hour doesn't make you, quote, a progressive workplace when you union bust and make workers urinate in water bottles. He was quote tweeting Dave Clark, who said, I think Dave Clark is in Amazon management, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot to look at their bio before I went on. But as you see, Dave Clark tweeted that he welcomes Senator Sanders to Birmingham and appreciates his push for a progressive workplace. I often say that we, Amazon, are the Bernie Sanders of employers, but that's not quite right because we actually deliver a progressive workplace. Oh, okay. Now, let's go to that next one I called up, Tunde, because Ken Klippenstein of The Intercept reported today or yesterday that Amazon management knows that its workers urinate in bottles, even defecate in bags in order to save time, talking about these work timeouts, as you mentioned, Max. This is sourced to him via internal company documents leaked to him. I encourage everybody to please go to The Intercept and read that piece. And then Amazon had the audacity to want to get spicy on the bird. Here come Amazon PR, Amazon News, quote tweeting Representative Pokran, saying, "You really don't believe the peeing in the bottles thing, do you? If that were true, nobody would work for us. The truth is we have over 1 million incredible employees around the world who are proud of what they do and have great wages and healthcare from day one." Now, Max, find the lie in that tweet, because I know Amazon is straight swelling. But as you mentioned, they are incredibly proud of the fact that they pay their workers $15 an hour, without mentioning that their CEO, Jeff Bezos, enriched himself by the trillions over the past year during this COVID pandemic. So certainly Amazon has enough money to pay their workers a better than a living wage, a thriving wage, not just this starvation wage, as Senator Sanders puts it.
Yeah, it's hard to even know where to begin with that. But I'm very glad that Ken put that piece out, because it says what a lot of us knew, right? Which is like Amazon's whole PR thing is the what is it? The Groucho Marx line: "Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?" Right? It's like we all know. We've all seen, we've all heard about these stories, and Amazon is out there gaslighting everyone, saying like, "Oh, you don't really believe that, do you?" It's like, yeah, I do, because people have told me, they've shown me. And now Ken has gotten those documents leaked that show that Amazon not only knew that it was, you know, running its workers ragged to the point that they were pissing in bottles and shitting in bags. In fact, it gets even worse, because that memo, what it says, as you mentioned, Kim, is like, is not, "Hey, we're going to slow down work so that you guys can actually use the bathroom." It's, "Hey, you're going to be punished if you're throwing your bag of shit away on company property," right? Like that was their main concern, right? And it just, I really can't stress enough how evil of a company this place is, and you know, it's in everything that they do, not what they say, right? You know, the evidence is there for everybody to see. So I would just highly encourage people, do your own digging. It's all out there. Great reporters have been revealing this stuff. Workers themselves have been telling us what is going on. Now, there are a couple of things that I guess I would stress, like in response to the PR talking points that Amazon is coming out with, right? Is one, like I was saying before, right? The basic fact of the matter is that Amazon knows and builds into its model a very high turnover workforce, right? I mean, the Bessemer facility in Alabama has over 5,800 workers who are currently voting for the union vote right now. And there are more workers there who can't vote for the union. So it's over 6,000 people in that warehouse. And it was originally built to hire 1,500. And, you know, I think I want to stress to people is like, that's huge. Like there are hardly any manufacturing plants that have that many people in the United States anymore, right? A facility with over 6,000 workers is massive. It is the center of the Bessemer economy, a town that is over 70% Black and African American, a town that has a 30% poverty rate, which I believe is around twice the national average, right? And here they are saying like, "Oh, well, we pay you $15 an hour. You guys should all be grateful." What they don't tell you is that for a lot of people, they only get that $15 an hour for a few months before they are burned out, worn out, and spit out and kicked out the door, right? Because that is Amazon's model, as I said. And that also means that a lot of the benefits that Amazon, you know, touts as like examples of how it's a progressive workplace, they're more or less meaningless because people don't last long enough working there to really enjoy them, right? On top of that, what Amazon does not tell you is that $15 is actually like around $3 less than the average of unionized warehouse worker pay in that area. So they're actually paying below the union standard in that area. But again, they're not going to kind of tell you that. And, you know, like on top of all of that, right? Like you said, I don't want us to lose the forest from the trees, because I think one of the really kind of essential points here is that Amazon as an entity is a behemoth, right? Amazon, as you said, Kim, over the pandemic was like, Amazon was already growing to, you know, dystopian levels. then this like sort of act of God comes along and really just it catalyzes a process that has wiped just entire, generations of family-owned businesses and small businesses completely off the board. And that a lot of that has been absorbed by Amazon, right? Amazon is absorbing more of the economy into itself because it's not just e-commerce, right? It is data storage, it is cloud storage, it is surveillance technology, it is international. Amazon is and has more influence over our lives than most other government or private entities. But the fact is that we as citizens, as consumers, as workers have virtually no say whatsoever in what Amazon does or how it does it. And so that's another really important part of the union drive is that, folks there in Bessemer and beyond are stressing that this is an issue of democracy, right? This is an issue of people having a say in the world that they live in. People spend most of their lives at work, right? And if you're at Amazon, you're not just spending 8 hours a day, you're spending maybe 10 hours a day for 4 days a week, right? Or if you're working the mega cycle, you're working close to 12 hours a day. And yet, again, you have no say in your workplace. Managers are telling workers in Bessemer, we don't need a union because there'll be this third party getting in between workers and management, and we won't be able to solve our problems but as equals. And workers are all saying, we don't get to do that now. You don't listen to us now, right? Yeah.
Well, listen, Max, something that you mentioned about Amazon growing to be this behemoth, and something that Daryl, the Amazon worker that you interviewed and whose clip we played at the top of this segment, mentioned is that if the union was so bad, then why is the company working so hard to discredit the union, to undermine the union, to dissuade its employees from joining this union? And Amazon is huge. Amazon has dough. And because Amazon has dough, Amazon has power. Because Amazon has power, Amazon has influence. And that influence even extends to the Bessemer Police Department. I want us to take a look at this clip. Tunde, if we could please cue up D1. This video clip was posted by the Twitter account, A More Perfect Union. And it says, Bessemer's police chief has confirmed to A More Perfect Union that his officers are providing, quote, off-duty security to Amazon. Union organizers say they are routinely harassed by local police and that officers have told them that, quote, they are there to keep an eye on us. Tunde, if we could take a peek at this video, and Max, I want to get your reaction, and also, some of the other tactics that Amazon is using to bust up this union, what workers have told you. But Tunde, let's check out D1, please.
The workers feel like they're in prison.
When you are going to work every day with a heavy police presence, I think it absolutely levels this fear of what could happen.
Again, it shows the way in which the anti-union forces get all involved with local political forces.
The Bessemer police officers have been here on scene since day one. We feel like we've been harassed. We had cops tell us that we couldn't step off the sidewalk.
When we're on the gates, the police ride around to our checkpoints.
I mean, they're in the parking lot at all times. From the second you pull up that main entrance, they're generally right there, lights flashing, anywhere from 4 to 5 SUVs at all times. They're up by the main front entrance. They are walking around the parking lot, oftentimes walking around the facility. They're called for really the most mild disturbances, almost as if they're security in a way. But they're in marked Bessemer police cars.
Some of the officers, they have reported to us that they are there to keep an eye on us. They sit right here at the front gate, and they sit there and watches us the whole time we're here. We had one of our organizers that was working the front gate. The police officer told him that they need a count of every time that we are down here.
They had 2 African-American officers from the Bessemer Police Department. Now, they claim this is private property, but they've got public police on site who are enforcing some kind of private rule. I asked them, was it a law? They said no.
Is this normal? To have city police marked cars patrolling a private property like this? And I think the answer is no. It's not normal. We're not used to seeing anything like it.
I see everybody in the chat giving it up one time for Reverend Barber. You know what Reverend Barber is all about, making sure that poor people get what we are owed and what is deserved to us. Max, you know, when you have the police department in your pocket, and that is intimidating as fuck for residents and for people who are working at Amazon and people who are working to try to unionize Amazon workers. What are some of the other ways that workers told you that the company is trying to vociferously make sure that their employees do not unionize in Bessemer?
You know, for folks watching, like, you don't want to know how deep this shit goes, right? I mean, but we all need to know, right? And so I would just encourage everyone, as workers there encouraged me, to keep researching, keep tugging at this thread. Like, look at things like the More Perfect Union video said, look at the contracts that Amazon has with local police departments beyond Bessemer using its ring system. Look at like the surveillance technology that it's selling to the government, right? Look at the cities, the smart houses that Amazon is trying to build, just like the company towns from a century ago, right? And in a lot of ways, what we are seeing is just a more thoroughly technologized version of the company towns and the titans of industry that we knew in the 19th century, right? That is kind of what Amazon is. It's a bigger, faster, stronger, more influential version of what we had before. We've seen this story, and we don't want to know where this goes if Amazon continues unchecked on its path to becoming what it wants to be. But yeah, I think that this kind of really highlights, right, like you were saying, Kim, just how kind of deep that influence is. I saw those cop cars, right? I stood on that corner that Reverend Barbara was on. I actually thought I was making a wrong turn into that entrance, because I turned, and as soon as I got like on that driveway, there was a cop car there with its lights flashing, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna get arrested, right? I found out that cop car is there all the time with its lights flashing in the Amazon parking lot. And then it will kind of circle around, like Big Mike was saying in that video. There'll be other cop cars that swing by the RWDSU organizers who are stationed at the exits of all these different kind of Amazon driveways to get to the fulfillment center. There were stories that a More Perfect Union, particularly Kim Kelly, the great labor reporter who broke the story, that Amazon actually successfully petitioned the city of Bessemer to change the traffic light at one of these exits, right? So, you know, the whole point of stationing RWDSU organizers at the exits, right, is so that when workers are leaving their shift, right, and they've heard from management that day, they've gotten some other union busting kind of talk in their ear, when they're leaving their shift and they pull up to a red light, that gives a couple seconds, if not a minute, for the union organizers to walk up and say, hey, what are your questions? Here's some literature. If you have, like, let's talk about what they're saying to you if you have questions, right? So what Amazon did was it asked the city to change the most popular kind of light, the light where union organizers were getting into a lot of conversations with these workers, to the point that basically whenever you drive up to the light, it immediately turns green. So that it gives the union organizers really no time to go up and talk to the workers who are leaving their shift. And the city admitted that was true, right? Amazon claims that it petitioned the city to make the changes to this traffic light because of traffic backups. Again, I've been there. That's bullshit, right? Because the facility is massive. It has one like main exit. And so if you're working in a far corner of the warehouse, it's going to take you a long time to walk back to your car and leave. So people aren't all leaving at the same time, right? They're trickling out over the course of like half an hour. There is no traffic buildup, right? And so I don't buy that at all. On top of that, there was news that broke, recently that, Amazon tried to get the National Labor Relations Board to delay the union election back in early February, because even during a pandemic, Amazon was trying to argue that the union election had to take place in person, that workers should not be able to mail in their ballots, even though, as you said, Amazon has increased its wealth and power over the pandemic through delivering things in the mail. And yet when it comes to its own workers voting on whether or not to join a union, Amazon tried to prevent that from happening during a deadly pandemic. Luckily, the National Labor Relations Board shot that down and the union ballots went out, but Amazon didn't stop there. They actually got a U.S. Postal Service mailbox to be installed in front of the front entrance of their facility, and they encouraged workers. They were texting workers every day, like they're texting them all the time. There are anti-union messages in the bathroom stalls, for God's sakes. People are getting bombarded by this stuff every single day. They were also getting told in text messages and emails, oh, if you have your union ballot, you can come and drop it off in person when you're walking into work, right? And just like think of the kind of like dystopian shit there, because everyone knows that Amazon's watching you. And so if you're walking up and you're dropping your ballot in there, the cameras are going to see it. And so it's an intimidation tactic, right? It's a way of scaring people or making them feel surveilled, which is what they feel all the time. Like it goes so deep.
That's the banana in the tailpipe right there. Don't fall for that shit, Amazon workers. I know y'all got better sense than that. Don't put the ballot right in the mailbox on company property. That sounds like a terrible idea, and just sort of it further illustrates, the insidious way that this company is trying to manipulate the lives of its workers and trying to dissuade them from unionizing. But we know that, Bessemer workers at the Amazon warehouse there have been getting a lot of support from people across the country. A little breaking news here, guys. Vice President Kamala Harris decided to travel to Alabama to give the Amazon workers there a little pep talk. That's a lie. Haha, got y'all, fooled y'all. That's not the case. But one of our favorite politicians, a couple of our favorite politicians, Nina Turner, who is running for, who was it? Not Rob Portman's seat. Whose seat is she going after in Ohio? Portman's in the Senate, but she's running for Congress in Ohio. Of course, we know who Nina Turner is. Cori Bush also traveled to Bessemer recently. And Tunde, if we could look at, I think it's E1. Let's get hype, y'all. Let's get loud real quick as we see some of our favorite Black women talk to a lot of these majority Black workers. Max, when we come out this clip, I want you to talk about how this is really a Black Lives Matter issue to be able to have Amazon workers there in Alabama be able to join the union. Tunde, if we could look at that clip, please, sir.
The giant that you are slaying is pure unadulterated greed that treats people like widgets instead of human beings. And I want you to know, B-Ham, I want you to know, Bessemer, that the whole world is watching you and you setting this mug afire.
There you go.
You setting it afire. Sisters and brothers, you can't have a testimony without a test. Okay. And you are being tested to see if you got courage and conviction enough to do what is right in our time. See, Jeff Bezos ain't seen nothing yet. Hello, somebody. All of the progress that we have made by marrying the labor movement and the civil rights movement, we gonna do that thing again. We gonna have a union that's coming to Amazon, baby. God bless y'all.
Call on you, Brother Bezos, to do right by your workers, do right by the people that prop you up. We deserve better, and if you won't give it to us, we'll take it.
Come to Alabama, this is what you get. You're gonna get a union. Little old Bessemer, Alabama. Get ready to unionize.
Everything look good on paper, but once you go on the inside, you see the reality.
This started in Black History Month. This vote started. It ends in Women's History Month. It was started by some Black women making history.
Our struggle is shaped by and couched in a vision of inclusive peace, solidarity, and justice for all people.
When those votes are counted, the answer will be yes, yes, yes. Yes, we should. Yes, we can. And yes, we did.
What good is $15.30 an hour when I'm addicted to Advil and Tylenol because I have headaches and I hate going to work every single day?
You're going to get a union right here in Bessemer, Alabama. We're coming to say that Black Lives Matter here in Birmingham, Bessemer, Alabama, and the state of Alabama.
those videos there from the Be Amazon Union Twitter account. Max Alvarez, I know you saw some of those scenes, maybe not from those specific days, but you saw, similar action, similar enthusiasm, and of course, people coming from out of town. Like we said, Bernie Sanders is there today, as we saw just in the previous clips, Cori Bush and Nina Turner. So what is the latest? When is this vote scheduled to take place? And what is the likelihood? I mean, how favorable is it looking that these workers will be able to unionize in Alabama?
Man, I just love watching that video, though. it's a really, I mean, I guess just to kind of talk about what you were talking about before the video, and then answering the questions you were just asking, right? Is like I do really hope that kind of sinks in for people, right? Because this has been one of the things that's been baffling me, especially with like the anti-identity politics dipshits on the left, who are trying to say is like, oh, well, why are you bringing race into this? I'm like, motherfucker, because 85% of those workers are black. Like, they live in a town that has a history of being hollowed out by deindustrialization, by redlining, by Jim Crow. And now like unionization at the largest employer in your town is one of the main primary vehicles that black people in this town have to claw back not only some democracy in their workplace, but some job security and some wages and benefits that will actually kind of empower the community itself, that will take some of that, wealth and redistribute it back down to the people who live there, right? Again, like I said, Bessemer as a town is at 30% poverty rate. And they gave over, I think, $3 million in tax incentives for Amazon to move its facility there, right? Amazon has taken a lot from Bessemer. They act like they're only there to give the jobs, like they're the great job creators. Now, you've taken a lot, not just the resources, the tax base of, this town, not just the, infrastructure that you are kind of using at your disposal, but you have taken the youth, you have taken the energy, you have taken the humanity of the residents there, the majority of whom are black, right? So this is very much a question of asserting that Black Lives Matter and showing why that message very much needs to and will continue to translate to workplace politics. And so, like, I guess to kind of then round out by talking about the likelihood of this union election being successful or where things might go. It's honestly very hard to say. I mean, I know that when I was there, and I'm still kind of texting with union reps and the workers that I've talked to, a lot of them are very hopeful, but of course, like I said, it's a facility with like over 6,000 workers there. There's a lot of people there, and Amazon has taken all of the conditions in this country that stack the deck against unions, and it has used it to its advantage. And what I mean by that is that, the labor laws in this country, the way things have been set up, is heavily in favor of the bosses, right? If something like the PRO Act was passed already, Amazon workers in Bessemer would already have a union, right? Instead, what they've had to do is go through this year-long process of like first starting in secret to meet, to talk, to reach out to the union, to then do a sort of covert campaign to get past a 30% threshold of workers signing union authorization cards, to then going towards a union election that has to take place over 2 months, which allows Amazon to constantly be berating its workers with captive audience meetings, with anti-union text messages and messages in bathroom stalls and emails and all that stuff, right? There are so many barriers put in the way of workers forming and successfully kind of attaining a union. And the workers in Bessemer so far have gotten the farthest out of any Amazon workforce in the US that has tried to unionize. So that is a very encouraging thing. But they're still playing a very uphill battle, and they know that, right? So, I think that one thing to expect is that even though the vote counting begins on the 29th, both sides are preparing kind of like for a dogged fight over the union election results, right? I think Amazon's going to try to contest ballots. They may try to kind of take legal avenues to have the election overturned if possible. I think that we should expect them to pull out as many dirty tricks as they possibly can. I think that, they're on top of that, right? What we were talking about earlier, the very model of Amazon makes it hard to have a union because it has such high turnover, right? This union election had, like I said, has been practically a year in the making. That makes it really hard to build a solid base of workers who are going to vote for the union if most of them are only going to be there for a few months because it wears them out, right? Or because Amazon offers them $1,000 to basically leave in after the kind of a really busy period of the holidays. That's something that Amazon does at all of its warehouses. But if you're a young person and it's February or March and Amazon's saying, hey, we'll give you $1,000 if you just cut and run now. If you were going to vote for the union, but you maybe need that $1,000, you're going to leave, right? So all these things are kind of stacked against the union. But amidst all of that, there's been widespread public support. There's been really growing support from amazing people like Nina Turner, like Sarah Nelson from the Flight Attendants Union. Danny Glover was down there. I got to talk to him. I think he's back down there today, now that I think about it. Bernie Sanders is now there. And the vote counting begins on the 29th. I kind of think it could go either way, honestly. But, one of the really encouraging things that I've been constantly hearing from workers and organizers there is that regardless of what happens, Bessemer is the beginning of a movement, right? They see this as part of the longer struggle, right, of working people to take back power, all the power that has been stolen from them over the decades, over the years, over the centuries, right? And we're already kind of seeing signs of that. According to Stuart Applebaum, the president of the RWDSU, since the Amazon union drive in Bessemer became public, they have been contacted by, I think, over 1,000 Amazon workers around the country, and even Amazon workers around the world, like in South Africa. They have been emailing in to ask about forming a union. And so I think that, and the Teamsters in Indiana, I believe, are currently trying to unionize more Amazon workers. So there is a lot of movement, right? And the organizers and the workers are doing an incredible job of linking their struggle with the broader struggle for social justice, for racial justice, with the broader international struggle for worker solidarity. And I think that that's really encouraging, regardless of what the outcomes are. So we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful, but I will never underestimate the kind of power and underhandedness of Amazon.
And really the extent of the greed of Jeff Bezos and the company as a whole, because without question, Jeff Bezos as an individual is, let me say this nicely, is a rich fucker, right? Like Jeff Bezos got plenty of money. Jeff Bezos could lose half his money and still be a rich fucker. And the fact that he is in his corporation are going to such great lengths to intimidate workers. I mean, Max, for them to set the police there in the parking lot of the Amazon warehouse, knowing that most of the workers there are Black, knowing that this is fucking Alabama, and the role that the police have played in terrorizing Black communities there. I mean, that's deliberate. That's not some oversight. That is an intentional message being sent. And fuck Jeff Bezos for that shit. But
I got a funny story about that.
Oh, I like funny stories. Go. Yes, I like funny stories.
So I this hasn't come through in any of my coverage for it, but this is the perfect opportunity to bring up this story. So when I was hanging out with some of the union organizers at one of the exits of the fulfillment center, right, and during shift change, right, there was a anti-union protester there with a vote no sign. And she was white, and I was like, it does, I was curious. I was like, this is the first kind of demonstrator who was against the union that I've seen out here in the time that I've been in Bessemer. Mm-hmm. I come to find out that there are a lot of suspicions, and I think actually there's now proof that she was being paid by Amazon to protest, like while the union organizers were out there. She, the anti-union white protester, is the one who actually got arrested by the Bessemer police because she pulled up and was trying to dispose of all of the pro-union signs that were set up along the highway there. So in fact, Amazon is using the police to intimidate its largely Black workforce. And yet the one who got arrested for their anti-union bullshit was this one white worker that Amazon is paying under the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how that works, right? Like the Republicans make claims about voter fraud. Who's actually committing voter fraud? Oh, Republicans. You know what I mean? Like it's funny how those things seem to play out. But we are going to continue to keep a very close eye on this. I know that you have been following this story extremely closely, and we are definitely, I mean, whatever beyond thoughts and prayers are, we are sending vibes and strength to the workers in Bessemer, that they are able to get their union passed and that their conditions change. And most importantly, because Amazon can fucking afford it. But you guys, we have been speaking with Max Alvarez. He is the host of the Working People podcast and the editor-in-chief at the Real News Network. He has been covering the unionization or attempted unionization of Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama. Max, thank you so much for making some time to come talk to us and share with us your fantastic reporting. I was looking at a lot of your packages. You had some really, really great interviews there in Alabama. So thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Kim. I will always make time for this. Like I said, it's an honor to be on here. And to everyone watching, please subscribe to Burn It Down on YouTube, subscribe on Patreon, support this great show and all the work that y'all are doing. Thanks again for having me on, Kim.
Thank you, Max. And listen, thank you to the people. I saw money popping up in the chat. I said, oh my goodness. So Northern Witch, thank you for that dub, honey. We appreciate that. Peter Low Frequency, thank you very much for that. We will take that 10 and 10, 10, 10, 10. Oh, Liu Kang dropped us $4.99. I appreciate that, Liu Kang. Thank you. Who is that, Alicia? Alicia, $5. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. We appreciate any and all support that you can give us. Oh, real quick. Somebody emailed me. I think her name was Susan. Susan, I'm not going to say your last name, for your privacy and whatnot. But Susan wrote us a very glowing email, and she wants to know how she can financially support the program because she is not able to get through on Patreon. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Susan. Susan, thank you for watching. If you just keep watching and if you share it. I don't know if you're on Facebook. A lot of people on Facebook. Share it on Facebook. I mean, just share it with your people. I appreciate you wanting to support us financially. And if it was convenient for you to do so, I would tell you how to do that. It doesn't seem like it's convenient, but that's okay because your continued viewership means a lot to me. That means a lot more than money. So Susan, thank you, my dear, for that fantastic glowing email that you wrote us. And just keep watching us. You ain't gotta send us no bread. Now the rest of y'all gotta send some bread. No, I'm just playing. But I mean, y'all know, come on, y'all know how appreciative we are of all the support. On behalf of myself, Genevieve, Molly, and Tunde, we appreciate y'all showing up. Liu Kang, what's up, pimp? Liu Kang said he got $4.99 on it, and I think you even quoted the Loonies, that I Got Five on it song. So there's that. And before I go, hold on, y'all see what this is? Y'all see what we got here? What's that say? No, it don't say titties. It says W. It says W. And what's the W for? The Washington Nationals. Y'all know what time it is. It is almost opening day. And the Nats are going all the way. And let me just refresh to y'all that as far as I'm concerned, the Washington Nationals are still very much the World Series champions because we did not get to raise our banner in 2020. So a little bit of respect to the Dodgers, but I'm still say the Nats is world champs. Y'all see the W. Y'all see W. Anyway, y'all want to drop us some dough, $ BIDWKB. We are on Venmo also at BIDWKB. And I just saw Tunde pop up the patreon.com/BIDWKB. So listen, guys, you guys are amazing. Oh, Anna, I saw in the comments, I'm very sorry to hear about your friend passing away from COVID. So I'm very sorry to hear that. And I send my condolences to you and to those who knew your friend. So I'm very sorry to hear that. Listen, guys. Yeah, Chuck Diesel, y'all know what it is. 202 the Nats. It is all about the Nats. But anyway, it is gorgeous out here in Maryland today, guys. So I'm going to hop off here because I still have a little bit of sunshine available to go outside and play. So it is Friday. I suggest you go outside and play, but mask up because COVID is still out here jumping on people. Do not subscribe to your governor. I don't even know what governor is your governor, but everybody's governor is on some bullshit when it's coming to this COVID reopening. So do not trust your governor. Whatever the fuck your governor talking about, he talking the wrong shit, he or she. You better keep them damn masks on. Y'all still better act like these variants is out here jumping on you like they jumping you into initiation into the gang. I mean, it is that serious. So please keep yourself safe out here. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance as best as possible. COVID is out here jumping on people. Still, I do not want it to jump on you. But thank you all so much. Shut up, Dr. Claus 77. Y'all are hilarious. Y'all have been a real ride today. We will see y'all back here on Tuesday for Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Don't forget to subscribe in words and not in words. Love y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye.